David Letterman, a legend in late-night television, recently shared his candid thoughts on the indefinite suspension of Jimmy Kimmel Live by ABC, a move that has sparked widespread controversy and debate. Speaking at the Atlantic Festival in New York City, Letterman expressed his dismay at the decision, describing it as a misery and raising concerns about the broader implications for free speech and media freedom. The suspension, which followed comments made by Kimmel about the assassination of conservative activist Charlie Kirk, has ignited a firestorm of reactions, with Letterman emerging as a vocal supporter of his fellow comedian. Letterman, who hosted Late Night and The Late Show for over 3 decades, is no stranger to controversy himself, having navigated the complexities of late-night television through 6 U.S. presidential administrations. During his conversation with Jeffrey Goldberg at the festival, he reflected on his own experiences, noting that he had mocked presidents from Jimmy Carter to Barack Obama, mercilessly, without facing such severe repercussions. For Letterman, the suspension of Kimmel's show represents a troubling shift in the media landscape, one that he believes is influenced by political pressures and an attempt to curry favor with powerful figures. The controversy surrounding Kimmel's suspension began with a monologue in which he addressed the death of Charlie Kirk, a prominent conservative figure. Kimmel's comments, which suggested that attempts to distance the suspect from certain political affiliations were misguided, drew the ire of Brendan Carr, the Trump-appointed chairman of the Federal Communications Commission. Carr labeled Kimmel's remarks truly sick, prompting swift action from ABC affiliates Sinclair and Nexstar, who announced they were pulling the show from their stations. Disney, ABC's parent company, soon followed suit, declaring an indefinite suspension of Jimmy Kimmel Live, a decision that has left the late-night community reeling. Letterman revealed that he had been in contact with Kimmel following the announcement, sharing that Kimmel texted him to say he was sitting up in bed, taking nourishment, and would be fine. Despite Kimmel's resilience, Letterman expressed deep concern about the precedent set by the suspension. "You can't go around firing somebody because you're fearful or trying to suck up to an authoritarian criminal administration in the Oval Office," he told Goldberg, drawing a parallel to what he sees as an alarming trend toward managed media. Letterman's use of the term authoritarian underscored his belief that the suspension was not just about Kimmel's comments but part of a larger effort to control narratives in the media. The suspension of Jimmy Kimmel Live comes on the heels of another significant development in late-night television: the announcement that The Late Show with Stephen Colbert will end in 2026, with no planned replacement. Letterman, who has been a mentor to many in the industry including Kimmel and Colbert, sees these events as interconnected, suggesting that they reflect a broader attempt to suppress voices that challenge authority. He pointed to comments made by former President Donald Trump, who had previously called for Kimmel's cancellation and celebrated ABC's decision as great news for America. For Letterman, this rhetoric is a clear indication of premeditated efforts to silence dissenting voices. Letterman's remarks at the Atlantic Festival were not just a defense of Kimmel but a broader critique of the state of media and comedy. He argued that the role of late-night hosts is to push boundaries, using humor to comment on politics and society. Throughout his career, Letterman himself faced criticism for his sharp wit and willingness to tackle controversial topics, yet he managed to maintain his platform through changing political climates. He expressed frustration that Kimmel, who has hosted his show for 22 years, is now facing such severe consequences for comments that fall within the tradition of late-night satire. The reaction to Kimmel's suspension has been polarized, with celebrities like Ben Stiller, Wanda Sykes, and Kathy Griffin publicly supporting Kimmel and criticizing ABC's decision. Some, including Marvel star Tatiana Maslany, have even called for fans to cancel their Disney subscriptions in protest, highlighting the network's ownership of ABC. On social media platforms like X, the controversy has fueled heated debates, with some users defending Kimmel's right to free speech and others arguing that his comments crossed a line. Letterman, however, dismissed the notion that Kimmel's remarks warranted such a drastic response, calling the suspension ridiculous and a sign of silly decision-making driven by fear. Letterman's comments also touched on the personal toll of the suspension on Kimmel and his team. He noted that Kimmel's staff had been seen packing up gear, with Kimmel's sidekick, Guillermo Rodriguez, dodging questions about the situation. The uncertainty surrounding the show's future has left its crew in limbo, adding to the misery Letterman described. For Kimmel, who has built a loyal audience over 2 decades, the suspension is a significant blow, both professionally and personally. Yet, Letterman's reassurance that Kimmel is going to be fine suggests a belief in his colleagues' ability to weather the storm. The broader implications of Kimmel's suspension extend beyond late-night television. Letterman warned that the move could set a dangerous precedent for media outlets, suggesting that networks may increasingly bow to external pressures rather than defend their talent. He drew parallels to historical instances of media censorship, invoking the imagery of a mafia-like approach to control. "This is misery," he reiterated, emphasizing that the suspension is not just about one show but about the erosion of creative freedom in the industry. Letterman's defense of Kimmel is rooted in his deep understanding of the role of comedy in society. Late-night television has long served as a platform for social commentary, using humor to hold those in power accountable. By suspending Kimmel, ABC risks undermining this tradition, sending a message that certain topics are off-limits. Letterman's outspokenness at the Atlantic Festival was a call to action, urging the industry and its audiences to resist such pressures and protect the integrity of free expression. As the controversy continues to unfold, Letterman's words have resonated with many in the entertainment world. His legacy as a trailblazer in late-night television lends weight to his critique, making his defense of Kimmel a powerful statement against censorship. For now, Kimmel's future remains uncertain, but with supporters like Letterman and a vocal fanbase, the conversation around his suspension is far from over. The incident serves as a reminder of the challenges facing comedians in an increasingly polarized world, where humor can spark both laughter and backlash.